Lord.
All right, so welcome to the Lifecast's Game of the Year segment.
Yeah.
Main event of the evening.
Yeah, we had to split this up into 2 recording sessions because we're all most of students. Actually, only 2 of you are. The rest of us has real full-time
that's
jobs.
weird.
Yeah.
And in like a day, it'll
I
be
None.
We actually properly
Wait, are you
scheduled
graduating this
shit. It
semester?
was
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Yeah,
shit,
it was
okay.
the
heater.
it was the technical difficulties.
Yeah,
because
only 2
Game
of
of
us
the Year
are
is
students
cursed.
for like a week.
Yeah, Cody's cursed.
Crazy.
This is the
Yeah.
second year in a row.
Second year in a row, the Game of the Year has been cursed. Of 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're at 100% curse ratio.
yeah.
Wow, you know.
So
At least we're
guys,
consistent.
Moving on, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We have 10 games that we all narrowed down from a list of originally 20 or so.
Something like that.
Probably
a
like
bunch.
60.
Yeah.
Before
Like
we-
60.
Yeah. Before we list the actual top 10, I think it's fair we talk about some of the runner-ups that are listed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
That's why you're our commissioner, Colin.
That's why you're the
Commissioner.
not ref. You're commissioner.
I'm the commissioner.
Yes.
Evening, commissioner.
Yeah, you're just a commissioner in our Discord
Hey,
channel.
commissioner.
Which you can join, by the way.
For free.
By the by.
But yeah, go over our runner-ups and we'll talk
Runner-ups,
briefly about them.
First one, ironically, which is also coincidentally enough, because words are hard, I can't speak. Was probably the first big game released this year. That was Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that game, but
Yeah.
I did not get a chance to play it because I don't like scary games.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bitch.
Atmosphere-wise, it was a good change of pace for Resident Evil.
Totally. It had like a really incredible first half. Like really fucking solid. Then it kind of fell off a little bit towards the end, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I also just loved the sort of zeitgeist this game had. Like when it came out, like every YouTuber was playing it. Like this game,
Yeah.
like more than most games that came out this year, this was an event when it came out.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
everyone was talking about this game. This was this controlled the first month of this year.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First or second month,
and
whenever it
for
came out.
once, a Resident Evil game came out, and it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while
It's definitely been a while.
Yeah.
since 4.
It also
Yeah.
kind of kickstarted this whole soft reboot thing we've been seeing for the past year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such as the upcoming Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah.
Ooh, can't wait.
Speaking of sexy people fighting, I'm pretty sure this game actually has nothing to do with.
No, it's a
sexy
puzzle
people
game.
fighting.
Almost a smooth
but the
transition.
title is there. It's the Sexy Brutale.
Yeah, I really I think I was the only one that played the Sexy
Yes.
Brutale
Yeah.
this year.
Pretty sure, yeah.
It was cute and charming.
It looks nice. I want to play it eventually.
The soundtrack was bopping when you were
Yes.
playing that game.
It was a bopper.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
bopper.
It's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of also great games, it's just Hollow Knight, not the Hollow Knight.
It's just Hollow Knight.
Okay, good, because that would sound like a awful amateur YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play the Hollow Knight, and then I will play Horizon Zero Dawn.
I really wish Kermit was a YouTuber. He would be my most subscribed. Anyways, the
Just the one-
Hollow
just the
Knight.
one subscription
Yeah, I
you
would
can give
subscribe.
to him?
I would make probably 2 accounts in order to subscribe to him.
Okay.
So Hollow Knight is what happens when Dark Souls and Castlevania fuck even more.
With a little bit of Shovel Knight, noticing what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
a
hey, I wanna
little
get
bit of
in
Shovel
on that.
Knight.
Shovel Knight is watching.
Yeah, and what ends up happening
Clank,
is
clank, clank.
what ends up coming out is one of the probably the best games this year. It in my personal opinion definitely deserves to be top 10, but no one else is really. It's a bit of a slow burn. So I do know there's a few people who started out and it's it's not that great yet. I'll play something else, but it's definitely a game that develops. It becomes like you're saying in Metroidvania, as you get more tools, the gameplay really starts to shine. When you get your wall jumps, your dashes, your all the sort of crazy shit you can do towards the end game. Then then by the time you're hooked with the gameplay, the story starts to come around. You start to wonder what the fuck's going on as the world around you starts to fuck up. All that good jazz.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful game and super interesting.
I definitely really have enjoyed what I've played of it so far.
Yeah.
I'm in the forest world right now. I'm about to fight Hornet, so I'm not super far in or anything.
Yeah.
But from what I've played of it so far, I've seen some really cool things. I didn't realize that part of the platforming involves you clanging your sword on spikes. And
Yeah.
after I realized that, I just a whole new world opened up because there were so many places I just straight up avoided because I thought I'd just get a wall jump.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the platforming in this game. It gets super nuts.
It gets
towards the
really
end.
nuts.
There's actually like towards the end game, they introduce like a platforming specific level where it's like almost no enemies, all platforming, and it's one of the most like difficult platforming stages in like all of video games, and it was super satisfying.
I do love me some hard.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good.
I love hard platforming
It's also optional. It's to get like the true ending. You have to
Yeah.
do
And you
it,
know
but,
what?
not to mention multiple endings. My shit. Love multiple endings.
It's also probably the most atmospheric game I've played this year by far.
Literally just about to talk about the art style and the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So thanks for
It's
that.
like,
You ruined my joke. Speaking of ruining, the next game, Ruiner.
Oh, it's like you planned that. God damn. It's like you read that he was gonna ruin
Oh
it.
shit! Script.
Scripted.
We are totally not scripted.
Yeah, Greg and I played Ruiner.
Yeah.
I liked
did
it a lot.
finish?
Did you finish it?
No, I did not finish
You
it.
didn't finish it.
So Ruiner is pretty much isometric Doom. So
Yeah, it's like Doom and Hotline Miami had a little baby, but in the
Yeah.
future.
but it's like so
Doom
literally
takes place in the future.
yeah.
Well,
Oh, okay. So yeah, it is literally like Hotline Miami. And Doom had a little baby.
Yeah, they just kind of like
They fucked.
they just kind of fucked and this game came out. I would say it's not as good as either of those games, but
Oh,
you know,
for sure.
But
But it's satisfying.
yeah, it's still satisfying. It's a little bit almost too simple for my taste.
Oh, really?
Even when I played it on hard mode, it's like the depth is there, but it's like the best
didn't do much with
strategy. The best strategy always seems to just be like to just get those chains going.
Yeah, to
where it's
dash
just-
around and not.
Yeah, and then get the Doom kills, which I could when you get them to
Yeah.
low health and you get to teleport to them and do the Doom kill.
Yeah.
That's but other than that, I dug the sort of like the aesthetic and the sort of atmosphere. Yeah, definitely deserves to be to get props this year.
Yeah. A lot of people were ragging on it,
Yeah.
saying that it wasn't good as they thought it was going to be, but I think it lived up. I didn't expect it to be like anything super amazing. I didn't expect it to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
I just kind of expected it to be like a good like thing you can sink your teeth into for a little bit, and it did that.
Yeah.
So
like that's honestly what people should just expect of games in general.
yeah,
Like no more, no less. Just be something good.
Death Stranding.
That's actually a very good
That
point.
isn't a game at this point.
Yeah, that's. I hope that
Stranding's-
game never comes out.
Yeah, Death
I just
Stranding's
want
ending,
trailers.
Death Stranding is an idea.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
it has me considering quitting drugs I've never taken.
I don't even know if you want to even call it an idea, because it's an idea like I don't think anyone besides Kojima would have on drugs. I don't want to experience that.
Yeah.
There's probably a reason why Mads Mikkelsen just looks so concerned every time he's hanging out with them.
It's because he doesn't have Cheetos with him.
Mads Mikkelsen always just kind of looks always concerned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Concerned or just really, really sad?
he just looks
Either.
kind of out of it.
Yeah.
Next game.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Speaking of being out of it, this segue actually has nothing to do with the title. This
It's out of the top 10.
Oh.
Ow.
Hey, out of the top 10, or you could say out of the woods. It's a Night in the Woods.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Night in the Woods was real nice.
Yes, this is another one of the games.
Trap Boy.
It was a feel good game that botched its ending. I
Yeah,
think.
it was definitely a feel good game that lost its way a little bit. I talked about this game a bunch already this year, like on probably like 4 or 5 different
To be fair,
podcasts.
you guys had that one episode where you guys devoted. Most
Yeah,
of
we
the-
did an in depth on.
Yeah,
Game
we
of
did an
the
in depth
Woods.
on
Game of
Night
the Woods.
On Game of the Woods.
Game in the Woods.
Yeah, and that was
Day in the Forest.
yeah. So if you want to do that, we did a whole podcast on Night
Yeah.
in the Woods where I think I've kind of mellowed out a little bit from that day. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Deserves some mention.
This game also deserves a mention because it actually came out this year.
Fucking finally. After like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Don't keep them in suspense. Let them know. let them
1, 2,
know.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Tekken 7.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
Close enough.
That was a horrible intro.
That was like actually we're never gonna get worse than that.
Oh, I can get worse.
I don't know, Dan. Things always have room to get worse.
Yeah.
We might need to pick up the pace like a touch on introducing these runner-ups.
Okay, yeah. That's good. That's a good. Yeah.
So Tekken 7.
Yeah. It's a really, really good game. I
fun
really
game.
enjoy it. I'm kind of obligated to enjoy it at this point.
Obligated.
But it's still really good. I really enjoy it.
Wait, what does that mean?
Because I edit for a Tekken YouTube channel.
Yeah, the
okay.
Blasted Salami came into his house and beat him up.
Salami.
They were all wearing king masks.
Oh no.
no.
And they all growled at him.
just
Oh
And
no.
was scared.
They just
Luckily, Dan had Brian Fury by his side. Wow,
Can we stop?
This is turning into
Can we
really weird
stop?
fan fiction.
next we have
Speaking
Fire
of,
Emblem.
speaking of things with really weird fan fiction, Fire Emblem Shadows of Valencia, which
probably
I
has some
believe is a
great
remake.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a remake of
It's-
Fire Emblem Gaiden, which never came out in the States.
Like remake is. It's a lot more than a remake.
And, like calling it a remake is calling it is like a disservice because
Yeah.
like it's ground up. It just shares characters.
Yeah, it shares characters
And
and
story.
the same like, not even the same story, just like the same concept.
Yeah.
Like it develops a lot more,
But as
and
a-
it's good. Unlike Fire Emblem Gaiden, which is slop.
Yeah,
Fire
that's a
Emblem
whole other
Gaiden.
discussion. I do think we use remake too much, but I think remake is a good use for this because like remaster is usually when they just like up-res or whatever. But
Yeah.
this is a tried and true remake where it's like this is a gate like we had this existed at one point and this is our sort of like modern interpretation, and it does that very well. It does all the things that you expect from a Fire Emblem game. It's got great music. And it's surprisingly a decent strategy game this time, and not just like I love watching numbers go up type of game.
Yeah.
So it definitely
there's
deserves.
some hard shit in that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and you actually had to like puzzle it out and
Yeah,
use
totally.
strategy.
Totally.
And just for that, you gotta mention their Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
It's like a really good strategy game. I really like what they do with the weapon system now, because now instead of it being like, oh, my iron sword broke, time to just buy a new one, it's like actually just modifiers on your base weapon, and I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I really like that. I hope that system stays because
Yeah, I really
weapon
do.
durability is just not
In terms
fun
of-
in any video
Any
game.
It's not.
Any
Not in
game.
any video game. I
Like
want
in Fire Emblem, it's a little better because of just it just kind of works better that way because
Yeah.
you get so many weapons that durability just kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, so that's my problem with dirt. Oh, this is a whole nother.
Yeah, no,
We're
no.
not gonna-
We'll talk about it later.
Please, talk about.
Well, sorry. Keep going.
What's our next game, Colin?
The next game, this might be the only bittersweet intro we're giving it because unfortunately, don't worry, there's not going to be a pun.
Oh no.
Oh.
I'm fully expecting it to be a pun.
Continue.
Go on.
For better or for worse, you could almost say this is the most overlooked AAA game of the year because so much
Yeah, that's
stuff,
fair.
So
Yeah.
much stuff overshadowed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's an open world game that came out like within a
Like,
week
okay,
of Zelda.
Yeah.
And that game
Yeah.
is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
More like Horizon Zero Attention.
Oh.
Oh. It's
Yeah, you wanted the pun, right? You got one.
I don't think that's pun. I think it's just an insult.
I wasn't trying to insult it. I mean, I hate Killzone, but I was really hoping this game would be like honestly the game, better for worse, like the game of 2017. And unfortunately,
it's on my game of the year.
yeah,
list.
I'm absolutely looking forward to playing this game.
Yeah.
Santa, please give it to me.
He doesn't. Santa doesn't.
I
Sort
feel
of
like
Santa doesn't listen to our fucking podcast.
You never know. He could be like, ho ho ho, I like these children.
He does not. And well, yeah, Horizon.
I
Like,
cramp-
what can we say about Horizon? That
I
I'm not gonna
personally
say on my
feel
game of
like
the year list?
really bad about Horizon, like myself, because I spent like an entire year hyping this game up and I
Yeah.
still haven't played it.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Like-
Because I had the opposite opinion. Like I whenever I saw the more I saw the game, the less interested I was in it. And I remember Dan always like, man, I can't wait for this game. And here we are at the end of
Yeah.
2017.
And then it came out a week that I didn't have enough money to buy it, so I just ended up never buying it and
Yeah.
never playing it.
Game. But that complete edition though looks like it's going to keep people busy for a long time.
I'm
Yeah.
probably. I don't have a copy of my own, so I might pick up the complete edition because
I mean,
I
at
want
this
to get
point-
to the DLC.
Yeah.
I
At this
heard
point,
it's
it's worth
excellent.
waiting.
Huh?
At this point, it's worth waiting.
Yeah.
It's a single player game.
Yeah.
You know, you're not missing out on anything.
And no one's trying to spoil Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, which is great.
Literally
Especially since I've
nobody.
already
It's because got
played it.
zero attention.
Yeah, literally. I haven't
Zero
seen a
attention.
single spoiler. of
I
this
literally know
game.
Yeah.
nothing about
no
this
one.
game.
No one's trying to spoil like Yakuza Zero either. If you haven't played that.
Even then, Yakuza Zero kind of overshadowed Horizon Zero Dawn in a way, and you couldn't get more niche
Horizon.
than
No,
that.
okay. Well, we can go into it later. But Yakuza Zero didn't really get any attention until Yakuza Kiwami
Yeah.
2 started coming out in Japan. So, and then everyone was like, "Whoa, what's this wild, wacky game?" And it's like,
But
you're in for a lot of tears.
but a game that's $60 all year round, like Yakuza Zero,
It's true.
you know,
Yeah.
it's obviously a quality
yeah.
game. Speaking of our final runner-up, the only one who actually played it here, and that's Battle Chasers Night War.
No, that's one more than, like
It's-
Horizon.
One more than Horizon.
Oh,
I think Horizon was actually like a multi-million seller too, and nobody played it.
Yeah, it just sold well in Europe.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
It's
don't
like this
know any
article I
Europeans.
looked up. It was like Mischief Makers was $1 million sales. I'm like, no, it wasn't. I played Mischief Makers.
But yeah,
But yeah,
Battle
Battle
Chasers.
Chasers.
Battle Chasers Night War. We talked about it, the first part. Look, it's a classic turn-based RPG that doesn't try any harder than it needs to, and it's just satisfied with being just an awesome, fun turn-based RPG. The artwork is great. The battles are super addicting, and that's always great to hear in a turn-based game.
Yeah.
You know, when they tend to be really arduous and
Repetitive.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
Bad.
It also helps that, like, when the characters
Same
are
with number 10.
it also helps, like, even though it's a Kickstarter game, the characters, like, are animated well enough where they all show their personalities from the comic, and that's great. Like, and it's all these, like, little tiny touches too. And I don't want to feel like I'm talking too much about this game. Overall,
I mean, you're making me want to play it, so.
I am.
Yeah.
You will love the character Gully.
Okay.
She's a 9-year-old girl who has gauntlets. And
He's my daughter.
She's-
That's it.
No,
A 9-year-old gauntlets adopted.
no. Her
I've already
whole,
signed the papers.
That's like how I played Yakuza Kiwami. Just Haruka, my daughter now.
No, she's probably. You know what? It's very nice to see in an RPG where the female characters aren't designated to healers.
Yeah.
The two
Interesting.
healers are the big giant robot dude and an old wizard.
Nice.
And the old
Okay.
wizard hits his magic powers like a golf club. It's fantastic.
Okay.
And
How whimsical.
I'm sold.
and
Yeah,
Garrison,
right?
Garrison might be the most cliched, like, big dumb brute guy. No, he's not dumb, but the big, like, brute guy in, like, every JRPG. But he's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, all the characters, like, Joe Mad knew what he was doing with this comic, and the game knows exactly what it's doing, and it doesn't. I don't want to say it's not trying hard enough, but, like, it tries where it needs to succeed, and for that, you know, it's
He
great.
gets a run around
Yeah.
the slot. And now to a top 10.
Yeah, anyway, top 10.
Top
Read them
10.
off, Colin.
Yeah.
In no particular order yet.
Okay,
We're about to order them.
we're gonna order them.
Going down the list.
I was gonna.
In no
we're gonna
particular
order them
order.
like Domino's.
Fuck Domino's.
I'm going to order Domino's Wednesday, and I don't want to think about it before then.
Get Papa Gino's. It's better. Anyway,
I just,
There's no Papa Gino's in New Hampshire.
yes, there is in Salem.
I don't want to drive to Salem.
Yakuza 0.
Yakuza 0. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Pyre. A Hat in Time. Divinity: Original Sin 2. Odyssey, you see, or Mario Odyssey. Persona 5. Breath of the Wild, and Cuphead and his pal Mugman.
Did you read that off a different spreadsheet?
Yeah,
I was
because
trying to
that's a
figure out
different order.
Yeah.
I was trying to,
No. Well, we're gonna order them, right?
yeah.
Okay,
we
so
gotta
number
switch it up,
10.
guys.
Oh, okay, but this
Number
isn't
10, everybody.
Persona 5.
Persona 5.
Yeah.
We
Persona
didn't
5.
discuss this beforehand.
Definitely not.
Just this one.
Wink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we in some little bits of lost footage we had already talked about this
Lost,
part.
maybe.
Maybe you'll hear it actually.
So,
Maybe it will put it right here.
I mean, I feel like we should still talk about it. Persona 5 is, are we actually just going to put the old bad audio?
Well, we did stop like right in the middle of the discussion.
Yeah, we
so.
stopped in the middle. Let's just start anew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Persona 5 is a very polarizing game.
Yes.
Here at the Lifecast, we have some people who love it, some people who are mad about it, and 2 people who really
Yeah.
don't like it.
I also really don't like it.
You haven't played it.
But you know
That
what?
doesn't stop me.
Oh, that's true. You can hate whatever you
Before you
like.
go on, for better or for worse, I know I already used that phrase. It's a great phrase.
it's a good phrase.
Good
Yeah.
phrase.
It's a great phrase. A very moving Sunday strip comic, by the way, called For Better or For Worse. This probably is the RPG of the year, you know?
Yeah, it's like there's like one that came out.
Yeah, but that said, it has like.
You know what else is an RPG? Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's
See,
true.
there you go.
I would say that Horizon Zero Dawn's a better RPG than Persona 5.
Yeah. Is Ashley Birch in Persona 5? No.
No.
Ashley Birch is the Horizon, though.
Does she play Aloy?
Yeah.
Genres are
Okay.
weird, man.
Yeah, genres
Yeah,
are shit.
genres are-
That's why we didn't, as far as I know, we didn't do any genres.
Yeah, no.
Praise be.
Yeah, genres are
Um,
Thank
stupid
God.
Yeah,
in video games.
Persona 5 is oh boy,
Yeah.
it's definitely something that needed a little more focus.
Yeah,
Um,
I said in our Lost audio that it did a lot of tonal shifts badly. Like it had a tone that it was going for, and it seems like to me, it didn't handle them at all well.
It didn't.
It's just like, I went in. The only thing I knew about the Persona series is that you made friends, and people really liked the fourth one. That's pretty much like all I knew going in. So like I wasn't disappointed. Like because I had no expectations coming in.
Yeah.
The thing that failed for me were the expectations it set up within me playing the game itself. It wasn't out me stuff. It was like the idea when they introduced the concept of the Phantom Thieves and what your persona represented. I thought the story was going to be a much more sort of personal thing about the characters growing up to sort of become like rebels and like what being a rebel represents.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was there were just some dumb brats who just kept taking on scarier adults until they fought God.
Yeah.
Basically.
But I mean, every JRPG
I was just
has
gonna
you
say,
fight God, and
Yeah.
this is probably one of my favorite ways to get to God. But
It's not through church.
yeah, it's not
There was some church
It's through a
stuff.
staircase made of bones.
Yeah.
Nice. God's a lot more rad than I thought.
That's pretty metal.
yeah. So it sort of let me down, and just the way. That being said, there's a lot good about this game, so it definitely. And while I personally wouldn't put it in my top 10, I think it's sort of important enough,
Yeah.
and it like that it definitely deserves to be up here.
It has
Yeah.
a lot of like stuff going well for it. I think it's a very hot and cold game. The stuff it does really well, it does immaculate, and the stuff that it does poorly in, it's like garbage. You know, like I actually think the what is it? The writing is a perfect example of this because like the writing is either fucking terrible or like absolutely brilliant. You know, the entirety of like the third palace with the bank is like not only like terrible in level design but terrible in just storytelling in general. But at the same time, the last 10 hours of that game are fucking brilliant. You know, like everything that leads up to the climax and the climax itself was like incredibly well done. So like it's very
It's
yeah.
It's highs are high, it's lows
yeah.
are low.
Its highs
Yeah.
are very high and its lows are very low. But I still personally really enjoyed it.
So yeah.
Awesome. Moving on to
Number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah, we
didn't get
we
this
don't
far.
have anything to say about like Persona 5.
No,
being
we've talked
10.
about
It's-
Persona.
it
It's
sounds
10.
it sounds very negative, but
Yeah, like I personally like I love the game.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at these here,
weeb.
and
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I yelled at you earlier.
What about-
Weeb, just
what about Divinity? How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel on Divinity? Do you guys feel higher, or is this about the right place for
I
Divinity?
think 8 or 9 is a good slot for Divinity.
I think Divinity is a game that deserves to be very high on this list. But it does a few things that make it that's have sort of soured it for me as someone who really loved the first game. And these are sort of very non-critical nitpicks. So I don't have the particular passion to argue for this game that definitely deserves to be probably like top 5 because like just like by the book, Divinity is an amazing RPG. It does way more than most of the games that are going to be listed above it in terms of like creativity and what it allows you to do with your player agency
I'll
and all
agree
those
with that.
concepts. And while it does not deserve this slot, I think I'm the only one who really played it, and I don't. There's just a few things that bother me, and I guess I'll go into it. It's just a lot less dumb than the first game.
Yeah. I didn't play the first game,
Yeah.
but the like hour and a half I think I played of Divinity made it seem like it had a serious story that it wanted to go for.
Yeah.
And it didn't want you to stray from that as much.
Um.
Even though it let you.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that that's the problem. It's like
Okay.
the
But I only played like an hour of it.
Yeah.
Of
It's
this
just-
massive RPG.
Yeah, like I
So-
put so much time, but and I'm not done. I think I might be halfway through. It's just so much less cheerful. Like it's even like the Divinity RPGs that came out before Original Sin. Like it's very very tongue in cheek, very silly. I remember when I entered the first city in the original Divinity, they had like the dumb salesman. It's like, get your fresh potatoes, how out the oven? And it's just like, what? And like you have these people shouting at you, and it's like they had the silly animations, like people's like they would like animate like way too much. And I remember my favorite that your characters would speak when they cast certain spells, and my favorite was you would cast the rain spell, and then says, "In the rain, nobody can see you cry," and I'm just like, that has nothing to do with what's currently going on.
Yeah, that was an original sin, right?
Yeah,
I
in the
remember
first
that.
one, and it's just like, so I've been playing a lot of not Pyre, this new game, and it's and its story is a lot better, and like there was like I've done a few boss fights and they're better than the final boss fight of Divinity 1.
Yeah.
But that magic for me is lost. Like nothing that's souring my experience is, I hope my friends are listening to this, but I'm playing with 4 people, and I think 4 is too much.
Oh.
For
like 4 other people aside from you.
Yeah, no, 3 other people, so 4
okay.
total.
4
I think 4 is too much. I think that with 2 it's a lot more intimate. And you get to like properly explore, and you know, while you can do your own thing, it's a lot easier to keep in touch. But with those 4 people, it's just a bit too chaotic. I've missed out on a bunch of story because one of my friends will like not care as much about the story as I do, so they'll just like skip through a conversation or something.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just like it's just a bit too much.
Just don't show your friends this Game of the Year
Yeah.
segment. We'll blur out your face.
just
voice
No.
Yeah, just for this.
and then that unblur me the second you start
No. It's
Who was
gonna
that?
be one of those like witness protection things. Where,
You
Yeah,
can't
but
even
the
understand
second
me.
he's done,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it just comes back.
No.
But yeah, so I think this game deserves someone better than me to argue its merits.
Okay.
So I think 9 is a good place for it.
okay.
awesome.
All right.
Yeah, it can be higher in your personal list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're not trying to debate your personal list.
But we are trying to debate the livecast list.
Yes.
And moving on to numero 8.
All right. 8.
Number 8.
Can
what do we
I
have
make
left?
a motion to put What Remains of Edith Finch at 8?
I would actually
Oh,
make an argument.
That works for me.
I
There's some.
enjoyed the story a lot.
Yeah.
Because I saw you and Cindy play it.
Yeah.
The story's good.
Yeah,
Story's good.
it's a good game. If I were to make a top 10 list, it would probably actually be at like 7 or 8 or something like
Yeah,
that. Honestly,
Same.
Fucking solid.
like it's a good story, but like just looking at some of these games, it's like
Yeah, the stuff
Like,
above
really,
it
like-
is
Yeah.
just like
it's like fucking bonker shit above it.
like the rest of this list is gonna be like this was fast. The rest of it's not gonna be
Yeah.
fast.
The rest of it's gonna be bonker shit this year.
Yeah.
I think 8 to 7 is a good spot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like I'm kind of leaning towards like 7, just because I feel like even though it doesn't do as much as a lot of the other games on this list, what it does do, it excels in like beyond belief.
it does it very well.
Yeah.
That's no doubt.
Hey.
Yeah.
Like I
But also,
said,
it's-
it
The story is actually
Yeah.
it's unique enough, and there's enough twists in it. There's enough like atmosphere, aesthetic changes here and there that make it consistently interesting. But
Yeah,
I think its presentation
Yeah.
in particular is like A1 because I said this before, but it's like they wrote prose, and then when
Yeah,
they finished
poetic
writing,
prose.
when they finished writing that, then they made the game around it,
Yeah.
and I think that's really cool. I don't know if that's actually what
Yeah.
they did, but that's what it feels.
You know,
like.
it might as well be.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey,
and
do you guys?
without question, the most soul-crushing ending of most games this year.
yeah,
You
but
guys
fitting,
wanna
but
hear
very
what I'd
fitting.
Fitting, but
put
like
at 7?
really, really
Huh?
depressing.
You guys want to hear what I'd put at 7?
Yeah.
Cuphead.
Oh,
I could go with putting a like Cuphead a little higher than 7,
Like 6?
like
I would say 5.
maybe like 5 or 6.
5.
But
4,
that
4
being
comfort.
said, I don't know. Like Cuphead's really good. Cuphead's got some really fucking good boss fights.
Okay.
And the
but
game- like,
it's
and
got
that-
some.
and that run and gun gameplay is really tight.
Yeah, it-
really good.
You like the running gun? See, I was gonna say I didn't
love,
like the running
Well, you're
gun.
talking to probably the biggest Metal Slug fan here.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
yes.
I'm also a huge fan of the run and gun sections.
Really?
While they are,
Okay.
I never
But
really.
they
they're
get the
super-
job done, and they were never presented to be revolutionary run and gun segments. It
No.
was like,
I think they're just. I don't know. I liked all
they're
of them.
solid. Okay.
It's weird because like I remember when I came into it, everybody's like, "Man, fuck these run and gun sections," and I played all of them,
Yeah.
and I was just
Like, they're fine.
You know, maybe it's because my background. Like I used to play, those types of games
Maybe.
all the time. But
But I
Well, like,
definitely.
But I'm sorry, I
No,
didn't
go
mean
ahead.
to interrupt. But when I played the running gun sections, it was like, hey, you guys remember Gunstar Heroes and how awesome that was? Here's a less jankier version of that. It's like, sweet.
Gunstar Heroes is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Especially with 2 people and you're drunk.
But I kind of more like found them to be like lulls in between. But I didn't really find the mausoleum stuff to be lulls. I found the mausoleum stuff to actually be pretty fun.
Like the pairing.
Yeah, like those were kind of fun.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, whoops.
They were a
little
bit
neat.
too easy. I never really. I beat
Well,
them
we're
all on my
still-
first try.
Yeah.
but,
Do it the opposite way.
I tried to do
So-
like that to save space, but
You don't have to.
So
we'll
it
do
sounds like
this now.
Cuphead might not be our number 7. What would you decide?
Oh wait, what are we on now? 7 or 6?
Seven.
7?
Seven.
God, I don't know.
is there?
What the fuck do we put at 7?
Hat and time.
I'd be okay with putting a Hat in Time there because I definitely like
Just
Cuphead.
let it hang and then do the knob. Every week, guys.
I thought
You think I'd know by now?
Every week.
I thought that was something about hat and time.
Yeah.
Let it hang.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Hat in Time with the Let It Hang.
I was like, whoa, what the fuck? No.
Like I definitely like Hat in Time a lot, but
Yeah, it's charming.
it's definitely got charm. It's got its charm down fucking like really really well, but I don't know.
I will admit I definitely enjoyed A Hat in Time more than probably anyone else here.
Okay, yeah.
So
That's
I ca-
entirely fair to say.
Yeah. So I can see why you would put it low. It's definitely not a perfect game. As much as I love it, like the camera is kind of janky at times, especially in the the mountain world.
Yeah.
I think the platforming itself and like the controls are like airtight, but there's a lot of like the level design could be a little better in a couple of the worlds. The camera isn't as good as it should be.
Yeah.
It's definitely not perfect. So I would be fine with putting it a little bit lower on. But for the record, I think it's much better than a 7.
Yeah.
And I always felt like there was like something more I wanted out of like the platforming.
Because
Because it was all just like it was all platforming.
yeah.
And like they give you so many like power ups and stuff like that, and they use them sometimes. Like there's some of them that they use like pretty well.
Yeah.
Like the ones where like the platform disappears and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
the
Like,
fucking what is it? The Dweller mask.
yeah, they use that a lot. And that's really fun. But like
Yeah,
all the other ones, they use for like use this to get a collectible.
Yeah.
Again, they don't really like put them in there.
There's I think the only ones that really used a lot for like hats were like the ice hat, the run hat, and like the Dweller hat.
Yeah.
And like that's it.
Yeah.
But that said, those worked in sections that were like really good when
Yeah.
they were actually part of the gimmick.
Yeah.
So are we deciding Hat in Time as number 7?
Yeah.
I'd be fine with it.
Collectively agree?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think
that's
anyone's
the number.
objecting that.
Yeah.
I think that's the number 7
I
game.
think it's
What do you
better
think?
than that, but I'm fine with
I mean,
7.
Greg thought Divinity 2 was better than 9.
Yeah.
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 Again, your personal list is
Yeah.
going to differ.
Yeah.
You have to be able to look outside yourself. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And understand what makes a game good.
But I don't wanna.
Mileage
We're
may
gonna
vary.
have to.
I know,
I mean, one of my
know.
favorite games this year was Dragon Quest Heroes 2, once again, and I'm, again, the only person who played that here. So,
Yeah.
that's not going to appear in anyone's top 5.
Top
Except
10.
mine.
6.
I'd
Number
be
6.
okay with putting Hellblade at 6, honestly.
Okay.
That's just kind of up to you. None of us have played it.
Yeah. None of us have really played it.
Hellblade, if we had like a games as art category, I think I said this before
Yeah.
in our
Yeah.
like other stuff. Hellblade would be it. Like
Yeah.
there would be no other contenders. Don't even try.
I don't think anything would even be up for it, to be completely honest.
But as a game, I don't think it did anything revolutionary.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with putting it at 6.
I mean, that's fine. The game doesn't have to be revolutionary to be good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most of these games,
Yeah.
are just,
It's-
they're all just like,
like-
they're doing what they do really well,
Yeah.
and they're just thoroughly entertaining. Because what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
That being said, there definitely are some games that on this list that have elevated, and I suspect they will land at the top.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
I actually do have one nitpick for Hellblade, and it was right before you get into the part where you have to solve 3 puzzles to get to Surtur.
That's where they save.
What?
That's where they leave the save point, and you die during the boss fight. You have to do the 3 puzzles again.
No. There was
That'd be
a
the ultimate
point
sin.
where you had to like line up the puzzles and then focus on a door to open it, and you have to stand in like the tightest spot to get that to activate, and that it almost made me restart the game, which is like fine. There was only 20 minutes up till that
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
it was not pleasant for me.
That happens a lot.
Because I thought it was like a glitch. I
Yeah.
thought like literally the game was broken.
That happens a lot in Ninja Theory games, actually, where like they'll just have like one oversight that like
Yeah.
you don't really care about too much, but it's really
Random
fucking annoying.
super janky shit.
Yeah.
But then I went on like some forums that was like, no, you have to stand like in the middle,
They give
take
you
a
coordinates.
step back, or like You have to stand on the left door, towards the middle, take a step back, look directly at the center of the door, and then it'll open it.
Like, oh, thanks.
Thanks. And then the rest of the game went really quick from there.
Moving on to number 5. This is where it's going to get interesting.
Pyre.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Or wait.
I will
what did you
either
say?
motion to put Pyre or
Cuphead.
Cuphead in
Yeah.
number 5.
I would definitely put Cuphead before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I
I
don't
love
have much to say about Cuphead because I haven't played too much of it, but
Well, like we've talked
Yeah.
plenty about how great the game is throughout this podcast and several many other
I mean,
podcasts.
Yeah.
Cuphead literally came
It's
up in
great.
every fucking category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuphead is
One way or another.
Cuphead is a fucking. You gotta respect that game.
Yeah,
And
The
absolutely.
respect is brought this high. It's the
Yeah.
definitely the game with the most vision,
Yeah.
in terms of they knew what they wanted to do. And I just watched the Did You Know Gaming about Cuphead.
Oh,
I definitely
I'm gonna
recommend
do
that
that.
one.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
And one of the things that blew my mind the most about it was that the composer, he said he didn't consider jazz his forte. I want to know what he considers his forte because
Yeah.
that must be the
Vaporwave.
best fucking music.
No,
Yeah,
I was gonna
right?
say Gregorian chants.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
yeah,
don't,
he's
I don't know
really
what it
good at
is. I
that.
need to
I
look.
would-
I need to
would-
look him up.
I would get
'cause,
down with
He's
some
probably
Gregorian
fucking
chants by
insane.
Cuphead composer.
But
Wow.
yeah, no, Cuphead is
Yeah, Cuphead's a solid 5
Cuphead's
on
5.
this list.
yeah.
Cuphead's
It's a 5 out of 5 game, and it deserves to be in the top 5.
yeah,
5 out of 5th on this list.
Cuphead's
Hey!
Cuphead's like Lord of the Rings. It'll win
Worse, right?
it's like the Oscar sweeper that wins everything but Best Picture. Like Cuphead does a lot of things technically fucking perfect.
Yeah.
But it's just not the best.
Yeah.
That's
actually a perfect way to
parallel.
describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it does all the side stuff super well, but it just needs a little
It's
bit
like
more
it's
meat
like
or
Mad
something. I don't
Max.
Yeah, it's like Mad Max. That one
Max.
that was nominated for 12 Oscars. It won 1 or something like that.
But
It
won
was
awards
nominated for 12 Oscars and won 11. The one wasn't Best Picture.
really?
Yeah.
Or something like
Something
that.
like that.
11?
It won
Didn't that happen
everything
with
but-
Return of the King?
I don't know if
too?
that's the actual number.
okay,
No,
that
but
happened-
Return of the
that
King
happened
won
with-
Best Picture.
Yeah, Return of the
Okay, yeah.
Return of the King.
And it
did
won
Best Picture.
every other Oscar it was nominated
Yeah,
for.
that,
For a
that,
while,
that
it
shit was a
that was
fucking
like the
Yeah,
right-
because it's a
Yeah.
good fucking movie.
It's debatably the best in the Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah, it's true.
But no, yeah, Cuphead
And his
does
dog Mugman.
a lot of things really fucking incredible.
Cuphead and his bro Mugman drinking his fucking brain.
Number 4.
This is where it starts to get a little tough.
I'd
We're supposed to
be
get a little.
here's
What do we have?
here's a hashtag hot
Yakuza's-
take.
Yakuza 0, Odyssey,
Oh.
you see, Pyre, and Breath of the Wild.
Hey, hot take. I think we should put Breath of the Wild here.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm
I'm
going
not
to-
getting anywhere with that one.
Respectfully disagree.
I think it should
In a
be
debate?
I
Oh,
think it
video
should be
games?
higher,
Respect?
but I don't think it should be much higher.
I think
Yeah.
it should be way higher.
Yeah,
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with that one.
I'm definitely on the Breath of the Wild hype train.
I am too. Full in.
All right, so
Right, definitely not Breath of the Wild. Now, for me personally, from the things here, I would put Yakuza or Odyssey. You see,
Or what
I'd
about
be
higher?
okay with putting Odyssey here.
What was this? 4?
Yeah,
Yeah,
four.
This is 4.
I would definitely put probably Pyre above it, but that's because I haven't finished Pyre or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But
I'd also be okay with putting Pyre here.
but
I'd be okay with putting the other 3 but Yakuza 0 here.
yeah.
Just to be clear, I know Yakuza 0 is not going to fill our number 1 slot, so don't even fucking start with me. Even though you're all wrong.
as someone who has played Yakuza 0 from start to finish, I can say that it definitely does not deserve to be the number
See,
1 slot.
that's
And we will discuss that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we could discuss it now because
We know-
I'd
okay.
say 4. I'd
No,
say 4 is a
I'm
good
okay
place
with
for it.
no.
But,
but
so the
what
question.
seems to be
I'm
the
actually not okay with
but what
putting
seems
it
to be a
fourth.
good 4 from what I'm seeing from all of you is Pyre.
from all, no.
No,
From all of us but Greg.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
all of us,
no.
fuck Greg.
So
Majority rules, though.
here's the I haven't really touched on Pyre too much. Now's a good time to talk about it.
Yeah.
So Pyre is it's a unique game. I've said this before in previous podcasts. There is nothing quite like Pyre. It the sort of story structure it sets up and the sort of base mechanic. I'm going to sort of spoil one aspect of the game. I'm sorry, you kind of need to just properly discuss the story. And what it does is you're sort of going on a journey with all your pals, and when you get to the end of the rites, one of you gets to go home free.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So if you win one, you have to win the final battle. of the current cycle, and you get to send one of your friends home. And what this mechanic does, it's a game mechanic, but it also sort of affects the story wise, because the people who are eligible are those who are most enlightened, and the most enlightenment is just kind of like EXP in this game. So you sort of have to choose between your best units, usually units you care about the most, and this game forces you to say goodbye many times, and you sort of grow a personal connection with all the characters as they have little side stories and all this and all that good jazz, and then it forces you to just to part and let them sort of like continue their life and sort of work towards the sort of greater plot that gets revealed in the later half of the game. And the interesting thing about that mechanic is that it also, since it's primarily story driven and it's got all that stuff, it's like the people you send home on say like another playthrough, you don't send them home for any reason. Now there's a lot more going on. They could develop into being a much different person. Like Jo Dariel, I did not know just how sick she was, because she was the first person I sent home on my first playthrough, because I thought she would be vital to the effort. But my next playthrough, because I just kind of want to see where it go. I got to see her develop. I got to learn about how she's Jo Dariel's a soldier. She's the big one in all the art, and what she did is like she pretty much made an orphanage of there's a term for it, it's like the war children. So pretty much people who got orphaned from the war, she became like their matriarch, like the mother, and she would like take care of all of them. And I didn't know this about her, and just like that sort of and the fact that it like sort of like plays off the gameplay and like how all that builds up together, it's a really satisfying experience. Not to mention it's got like the most satisfying where are they now of like any video game. It's there's plenty of like RPGs and stuff do this, but it's like it's no game has quite nailed the where are they now quite like Pyre. You sort of become prolific figures that live on through time, and it's beautiful.
Sounds like it's better than number 4.
Personally, yeah.
Personally, okay.
I really dropped off on it once it was like, this is a sport now.
It's
just like, yeah, the character development is like great, and also you get to be part of this immense like world changing thing through what you're doing that you had no fucking idea you would have ever gotten to. But like, they literally give you a sports leaderboard and is like, you coach the team now. Have you like video game.
Yeah, they give you a scoreboard, sure, but it's like the everything represents like how like all the lyrics in every single one of the songs sort of represents like the journey that you're all taking together, and the sports is much more compelling gameplay than say other games on this list like Yakuza 0. Let's talk about Yakuza 0.
Yakuza 0 does not have great gameplay.
Yes. Straight
the fuck up. What it does have is a really good handle on how it shifts in tone and what it presents to occupy your time. And I have 2 more things I want to say. I just need to know how to word them.
Before you move on, I've noticed no one's really made a deep argument for Mario Odyssey.
That's just because we haven't talked about it yet.
I mean, I personally said to put Mario at 4. We didn't talk about it yet.
Yeah.
I did raise it for a 4th slot.
But yeah.
I thought I heard someone did.
But I mean, speaking of pacing, I'll let you finish your next 2 points.
Yeah.
But one of my biggest problems with Yakuza was how frequent the little side stories were and how they were like 100% mandatory. And I understand the side stories are some people not mandatory to do, but so here's the thing that happens to me most of the time I was playing Yakuza. Story things would happen. Wow, I'm really invested. Walk to your next destination. On my way there, I'm interrupted by 3 or 4 people acting like
fucking fools. Yeah.
For their side quests. So talking about tonal shifts, while they do handle the cutscenes well, like each one like structurally is like super, intense or whatever. It's like the sort of the grand experience every time gameplay happens, barring like the 2 or 3 times where you're like ascending like the like one of like the corporate strongholds or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
Tojo Clan.
Yeah, like barring those times, it's like the gameplay always feels like it's just a detriment to the whole experience. And I played it on hard, and it was relatively brainless the entire time, barring a few just specific moments that were too difficult in a very unsatisfying way. The only two times the game was ever difficult is if you fight against 2 to 3 boxer guys, and they just keep throwing out hitboxes, and they keep you in stun lock for way too long, or assholes with guns where they sort of hide behind all of their friends and they shoot you, and then when you get hit, I understand it's a gun, but then you sort of recoil in pain for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, then everyone else can beat up.
Yeah,
on
then
you.
everyone kind of steps on you, and it really just it ruins the pace of the gameplay. And I think this game honestly would have been better served if it was just not difficult at all, or if you're going to make it difficult in satisfying ways that I can properly play around. Because I tried. Oh Lord, I tried.
Could use a nice tech roll or something, right?
Yeah, it could definitely use just a little bit more depth or less depth. Like, it's in this weird middle ground of like frustratingness because I feel like I should be able to do something because the game set up expectations that I should be able to do something, but I cannot. And I've tried everything.
I don't think it set up those expectations for me, like at all.
Yeah, because it's really random. The game, like the first few chapters, is just like dumb easy. Literally did not have a problem at all. And then randomly, only Yakuza, because not Yakuza, only on Kiryu, because Majima's like way better than Kiryu.
Yeah, it's true.
Kiryu would just all of a sudden I just started getting trashed. And I had no idea why. There wasn't like a progression in difficulty. It was just, and I figured it out.
It's because he's not the Dragon of Dejima yet.
No, it was boxers. It's literally just the boxer guys. They start throwing out hitboxes before you get up, and so as you get up, you get hit, and it's this vicious cycle. But I'm getting too much on the gameplay. The gameplay is like it's a
like
blemish.
Okay, yeah.
I think okay is a disservice to video games. I know that's a
that's
a powerful statement.
Entirely false. And I have played so many games with worse gameplay than Yakuza 0.
I'm not saying it's the worst gameplay wise. I'm saying we've done so much with like gameplay and like all that stuff that like to call this very basic beat 'em up like just like okay. It's a disservice to like all the tightness of like games under it and games above it that I definitely feel like fourth is a good place. I love the story. This game is really fucking stupid in like the way I love. It's super melodramatic.
Yeah.
It's
a soap opera.
It's like a soap
it
opera
literally
with,
has
like,
soap opera scenes.
Yeah. But it's like as much as I love this game, I can't like with everything I understand about game design and everything I've like been studying my whole life, I can't quite call it like one of the best games that came out. I mean, obviously it's one of the best games that came out this year and because it's in the top 10, but I can't.
You can't call it top 3.
I can't call it top 3.
From a writing standpoint, I absolutely can call it top 3 because I think this has done 1, localization, and 2, dialogue between characters better than most games I've seen. This year or any year otherwise. I think the exception to that would actually be Pyre.
Yeah.
Because they did a fantastic job with writing that game.
I definitely feel you on the localization part. I haven't really played Yakuza 0, but I've seen enough of it to feel like I've played it.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate how they treated the localization of this game.
There definitely was a little bit of weirdness where it was like they were a little bit too current with their lingo. Yeah. Even though it's supposed to be like
from the 80s.
In the 80s or something. Like, what was it? Oh, fuck, I can't remember it, but it was there was just some very current like urban
slang.
Lingo.
Right.
Yeah, that was thrown in there.
But no, and I think it does a really good job at making its characters, you want to get caught up with the character stories.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I haven't experienced in many other games. As to the degree that I have in Yakuza 0. So that's why I think it doesn't deserve 4.
I can't speak for much of Yakuza, but I definitely really like how I'm on like chapter 7 or something like that. Yeah. I really liked how it set everyone up. Mm-hmm. Like I think it set everyone up in some really cool ways. Definitely wasn't a big fan of just the moment combat. I wasn't a big fan of how like when you were walking around in the world. I don't like random encounters.
Yeah.
Even in like my RPGs, but like to do that in like a beat 'em up is kind of funky. I think to just have like random street encounters. I get like it fits thematically sometimes, but I don't feel like it could have done with less of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really just hated the town. Like, every time I was there, I just wanted to be back into the story, back doing other things. But I probably spent half the playtime in those towns, and they were.
To be fair, I do think that they did the open world aspect really well for a beat 'em up game, because they have these like small-ish areas, and this was my critique of Breath of the Wild actually, is that you have these open world areas in Yakuza 0, and they are so densely packed with things that don't feel out of place. You know, like it's just a neighborhood, and there are 2 of them. It's like tight knit, and there's a lot of attention to detail in a lot of the things you can do there.
They don't necessarily feel out of place, but like a lot of the times they don't necessarily even add anything outside of like the side stories and stuff like that. Because 90% of it is just different convenience stores where you buy stuff. And while that doesn't feel out of place, that doesn't necessarily add much either.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, having a vast expanse of nothing where you trek from place to place to place just to do another thing is not exactly doing it for me either.
But it does. That does make sense if it's, say, traveling itself wasn't a enjoyable experience. When we're sort of talking about Breath of the Wild,
it wasn't for me in Breath of the Wild.
I think those are some like the best fucking moments in that game. From just going to point A to point B because of like so many things and just gorgeous scenery.
Yeah, it looks good.
There's so many things that just like, oh man.
But it's just like the thing that makes like Breath of the Wild interesting. It's like, yeah, it's a vast expanse, but the entire point is like you setting goals, and like even traversal is a puzzle, because you see a destination and then you think about how to get there. You get there. You can jump super far and use your glider. You can climb up certain things. You can do all these sort of different various ways to get to place, and even then it's still pretty densely packed. I would like, obviously it's not as like tight as a whole. I mean, it's hard to describe Yakuza's overworld as tight, because like I played
it's like clustered tight. It's not like handling tight.
Yeah. There's a lot in it because there's not a lot of space, but it's like I wouldn't necessarily call it like packed together. Like we have like many other games that do like the Spencer Mansion type of like overworld thing like super well. But the thing that makes Breath of the Wild interesting is the player agency. Like the Breath of the Wild evolved what open world games should be, and it didn't solve every problem. Like story wise, it didn't solve the classic open world problem of, oh hey, there's some shit going down, it doesn't make sense that you would be picking flowers right now. It doesn't solve that problem. So open world games still have place to go, which is just cool. I love the idea that we still have places to go. But it does do gameplay and player agency better than any open world has ever done, and it's like not even close.
It's like actually not even close. Like the amount of ways you can tackle a certain situation in Breath of the Wild like seem fucking endless. I know that's a really weird way to do it, but Breath of the Wild will let you take your fucking stupid ideas, and chances are if you have a means to do it, it'll work. And like that can't be said about any other like game. Like
especially like, so it's like for me, I'm not the brightest, especially when it comes to puzzles. Oh god. Speaking of which, every other Zelda game, there comes to the point where it's almost always the Master Sword challenge, because they always step up the puzzle difficulty at that point. I've had my older brother, do like every single Master Sword challenge for me. So like the puzzle to get it, because there's one solution, and I'm not smart enough to figure it out. It's kind of like the, how we should reform our educational system type of thing. It's like we have one answer, and Breath of the Wild is the new hip liberal version.
It's the No Kid Left Behind version.
No Kid Left Behind version, where it's like there are several solutions, and some of them are really fucking dumb. And one of my favorite memes is the box art, and the title is just replaced with, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that."
Yeah.
But in the font, and it's just like this game is on a whole nother level. It is, while it definitely disappointed me in some ways, it's not my favorite Zelda game of all time. I've been talking about like respect a lot. Like you have to respect this game for what it does, and in terms of games that came out this year, I respect this one the most. It really, we've been doing open worlds for a long time, and Nintendo was the first one that almost figured it out. Like I said, we still have some story problems to deal with, but in terms of gameplay, this is it. If just the combat was a little bit tighter, I would have no complaints about this fucking video game.
My biggest complaint with Breath of the Wild is the combat.
Yeah.
honestly.
My biggest complaint is actually like the personal goal setting.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking give me things to do. You know, don't make me set my own goals because I don't go to video games for that.
Interesting.
If I wanted to set my own goals, I would not play a video game. Like, I would look at it. I understand there's like a fantasy aspect of it. I understand that like you can do things that you can't do in real life in video games. But if I wanted to set my own goals, like I keep a journal. You know, I have a to-do list.
I feel that. I'm kind of the same way. I'm a very objective-oriented player,
Yeah.
which is why I don't really play many open-world games, because the way I play open-world games is I start it up, I play it for like 12 hours the first day I get it, and then I never touch it again.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go back to it because I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And like so I'm in the same boat as you on that one, but at the same time I don't think that's something that is specifically speaking to the quality of the game itself. I think that's more so a personal preference than a critique of the game.
It's way more a personal thing.
Yeah.
Because, see, I really fucking like that. I liked that I could do however much I want, and then I could bounce. Like Breath of the Wild isn't holding you back in any way. Breath of the Wild, it gives you an intro tutorial that lasts about an hour. And then it tells you to kill Ganondorf. It's like fucking straight up. Like, it doesn't tell you to go do this and do that so you can kill Ganondorf. It literally tells you to go fucking kill Ganondorf. And if you're good enough, and if you find the right things, you can do that. I like that it doesn't hold you to anything. You can check out of that game whenever you want if you think you're good enough. Yeah. So say if you like, you could probably play this game if you find like a couple of good weapons and practice from like a save state and fucking keep reloading it. You'd be like, okay, I think I'm good enough at this combat now to do this last boss fight. And like that's fucking wild that you can just finish this game if you think you're good enough.
Yeah.
So you're never
there's I think I think player agency is what separates games from the other mediums. I think that concept of just like you being able to do what you want, that really is what that's what the interactive aspect of video games, that's what makes them particularly special. So it's like, while I do love Yakuza's story, that it probably would have been a better experience as a TV show.
For sure.
While I love other games on this list, it's like the fact that it's I don't know. There's the fact that you're setting your own goals, and it's not like us setting a goal. It's like literally, ooh, what's that? I want it, and then it's like an impulse. It's like a playground in the best way. And not to mention just like...
I never once felt that playing this game. Like, I looked at all of the shrines, and I looked at all of the boss battles, and like, the only emotion I felt playing Breath of the Wild was, ugh.
Yeah.
That might be just a personal thing.
Yeah.
And it might deserve to be higher than 4. But in my opinion...
way higher than 4.
It doesn't.
So I also have the luxury of playing this game in Japanese. So I actually really dug some of I dug literally all the memories.
The memories are, I did them in English, and the memories are just like cool. Like
imagine them in Japanese.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to hear the voice acting.
Like the way they make this this like world filled with dead people is like fucking insane. Yeah. Like all of the champions are dead.
Yeah.
And like
I got that far.
And the way they make you.
My emotion for 20 hours was ugh. I got that far.
No. And the way they make it feel lived in is like kind of insane, because even though these people are dead, they make it seem like they're still fucking reigning their own areas, and they're all very distinct. And when you talk to people, it's like, oh yeah, this person was really fucking awesome. And like the way they set that up in the story, in the final boss fight, and in other ways, it really makes these fucking dead people feel like they're still in control of their world, and it just adds so much extra flavor to it. It's like actually it's so good.
Yeah, that's I feel like is the only Zelda element of this game.
So I will say that like this is just not a Zelda game.
Yeah,
it's
No,
not.
like,
it's not.
It's got some Zelda stuff.
Let's stop talking. The first open world game ever made, pretty much, is the original Legend of Zelda.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
the
but
NES.
that is not how the
Yes,
series
but
has
just
evolved.
because
This
like,
series,
that is
there
an
has
open
been
world
a
game.
steady release of 2D Zelda games, along 3D Zelda. I understand lots of us prefer the 3D Zelda games, but we will not go here
we don't
and
have
say
to.
that that this is a like it is a major departure mechanically, but like thematically we've been doing sort of like similar things with these games, and it is the first 3D Zelda to act like a 2D Zelda. But and the 2D Zeldas in my head are still part of the same franchise. We're not gonna say that. We're not gonna say
All right.
that. Yeah, definitely not 4.
Definitely not 4. Not even no.
So
I mean, if I have to concede because I am outnumbered, I am not going to convince 4 fucking people that Yakuza 0 is at least in our top 3, even though I think you're all wrong.
Because it's
Hey,
just
I
like
didn't say anything,
because it's like
so
it's
don't
super,
let
it's
me in
super,
there.
It's like there are
Because,
these,
like,
there
even
are
if-
these dramatic moments, but like barring the
I'm
ones
gonna
like
bring it
right
up
at
again.
the end, they're really not earned. Like for example, like Nishikiyama's like super dramatic, scene
Thing,
with his
yeah.
brother. It's like I didn't feel like Kiryu was in that much danger when that scene happened. Like,
Oh,
and
no,
there's
he
tons of
wasn't.
contrived like every person who was tortured like spilled the beans. Like there's tons of like convenient plot stuff that it's just like, are we like, I don't know. I feel
Yeah, but I think a lot of that comes as part of the fact that it is a prequel for a pre-existing series.
yeah. So yeah, they did the best they could, but it's like.
Not to bring it up again. Like I said, no one has talked about Mario Odyssey yet.
Hi.
No one.
We just have not gotten there.
Because
Oh,
I was
shit,
about,
we have
I was about,
20 minutes.
I was about to make that the number 4 based on that alone.
Yeah.
The fact that no one's really, no one's making
That's
arguments.
because we
for
just
it.
haven't gotten to that point yet.
I mean, I haven't put too much time into Odyssey, but just like from general like vibe and like the way everyone like the general reception to the game was like, I feel like the love was there for a short amount of time, and then it just like dropped off the face of the earth.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't
It's
know
like
if that's a way to judge like the quality.
It's-
of the
No,
game.
yeah, I haven't played the game. I'm talking about I'm curious
Yeah.
because like I put some time into it. It's like a little bit like mechanically, which is pretty much my main way to sort of, and I don't know how much mechanics you get as the game goes on, but for like the few hours I played, it's like a little bit mechanically deeper than Galaxy, but like less mechanical than Sunshine, I think.
no. I mean, it has less mechanics than Mario Sunshine is,
Yeah.
but it's
It's much more mechanically complex.
Like if you let me
Like-
show you some shit that I can do in Mario Odyssey, it like this game gives you a platform that you can use at any given point, and that alone opens up everything. Like, oh man,
Mario Odyssey is definitely a game that when I first played through it and I beat the story, I was like, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
You know, it
I was in the
was a
same
good
boat.
Mario game.
Yeah, because like that was the perception
Yeah.
I got from everybody.
Yeah,
It was like they
and
played
then-
it and it was like it's okay.
Yeah. And then the more I played it and the more I tried getting like the extra moves, because like I said before, I'm a very objective oriented player. So I basically got the 120 something moons you need to beat the game, maybe a couple
124.
here, 124 to beat the game, couple here, couple there that I just found along the way, and then I beat the game. And then going back to it and being like, okay, I'm only gonna 100% the areas that I really really like, because I don't want to get 999 moons.
Yeah, yeah.
The more the more time I spent like trying to find the more moons, and the more time I spent like actually getting used to like how to make certain jumps in the game and like the different like movement options I have, the more I started to really really enjoy the game. Adam said this before, if there's a jump, you can make it.
Yeah.
there is some workaround.
like-
So this is like definitely weirdly the slowest burn of any Mario game.
It is
Yeah.
like, but like I
that's
didn't.
good.
I was with Dan. I wasn't a big fan of Mario Odyssey when I was like playing through
Yeah.
for the first time, but as I kept going and as I like realized how much I could actually fucking do with this stupid hat, it's like actually insane.
It actually just unlocks a whole new world and a whole new way
Like,
to tackle the game.
and
Like, no two playthroughs, even of the same person of this game, will be the same
no,
at all.
like this game is so mechanically tight, and it doesn't present itself like that because through its first few worlds, it's definitely like pretty basic platforming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't
But-
really get good until I want to say like after, what is it, the fishbowl world probably.
Yeah, after the fishbowl world, it starts to get like definitely a little more mechanically intense. But they leave ways for you to do the shit. The stuff to do is already there. Like, so if you go back and you can like see hints of totally different ways to do the same thing you did earlier.
Yeah.
Like for example, so have you played Cascade Kingdom? At all? That's the first area.
Yeah.
So you know the T-Rex you get on.
Yeah.
You know how when you drop off, there's a platform there. I'm sorry.
Yes,
there's like
yes.
a trampoline.
Yeah.
So you know you go around, You climb up with the T-Rex and everything. If you can use that trampoline that they put there to just skip to the boss fight. Like you can jump up on the T-Rex and then you just go up there and you can do the boss fight. And all of these things are just placed around the world, and they almost expect you to do them because in a lot of cases there are these like really weird jumps that you would never ever make just based on what they tell you. And there'll just be some question blocks and some coins up there to be like, yeah, hey, you figured this out.
Yeah.
Like just like the little things they leave behind, they reward you for things that you would never know just by using the mechanics they tell you.
Yeah.
Like they really make you do things in really creative ways, and they don't give you that information. You have to figure that out yourself.
We were talking about playgrounds earlier, and I think out of like every game left, which all of them pretty much represent a playground except for like what, Pyre probably.
Yeah.
I think Mario Odyssey is like by far the best
Ooh.
example of that
Okay.
kind of gameplay.
Reaper
Yeah.
froze up on me for a second.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank God.
But yeah, I think Mario Odyssey is like
Yeah, definitely. The
clear cut the best example of a playground we've seen. Like outside of Mario Odyssey, I think the only other like pure example of what a playground in a game would be Doom.
Okay, we're good.
And
We sure?
Yeah.
Are we good on deciding
And-
a top 4 though?
start with four.
so I'm
gotta
going
start.
to I'm going to there are 2 games out of the top 3 that I think 10 million % need to be there are Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. I think those
Yeah,
are
that's
I
fair.
think those are the 2 best games that came out this year by like a lot. Granted, I did not finish Pyre
Yeah.
and Yakuza, but from what they set up, I don't think they do anything nearly as well
Yeah.
as
I mean-
Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild do.
Well, I'm going to concede there. It is a sort of weird stance to take because it's like for example in your own Mario Odyssey experience, you didn't enjoy your first.
I
playthrough.
didn't. You can
Yeah,
literally
so,
talk.
so it's like
Yeah.
yeah, and that's most people. Like
Yeah.
my brother's currently like sour on it and like all these things, but so it's like it's always like funny
Yeah.
how like half of us like we started this game, but it's like doesn't mean anything.
I don't
It's just
think
like-
I don't think it's the fact that we didn't like our first playthroughs because we both enjoyed them.
Yeah, we both enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
It's
obviously
just
it
that
was
it's
fine.
not. We didn't think it was
Yeah.
any more than like
Yeah.
the regular good Mario game you get every couple years.
Like you can listen to it on the podcast because I remember
Yeah, you
we
can
did
see
it.
the evolution of
We
it.
did it like
we were
right-
saying like literally the exact same things.
Yeah, like the first week I'm like, yeah, Mario Odyssey's okay. We finished it. I finished it this week, yeah. And then literally, if you go to the like, I was off the next week, and then I went on the week after. Yeah, I'm speedrunning Mario Odyssey. like you can literally see that evolution where it's like, yeah, I'm practicing my 90% routes for Mario Odyssey. I think this game's really good, guys.
Yeah.
like you can see the evolution just in how I spent more time with it, and I was totally ready to just give up and never go back to it.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was talking to Andres, I'm like, I don't think I like this game, and Andres didn't either.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I just don't think I like this. And I think Rich was the only person who's like, yeah, this game's fucking incredible on his first playthrough.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Rich is not entirely hard to impress.
Not
yeah.
really.
And I'm like,
No offense to you, Rich.
and I'm like,
I
Just
wish I
means
was
you
like
have a
that.
happy
Honestly,
soul.
yeah.
Same.
And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this some more of a shot. I'm gonna collect my shit. I'm gonna collect some more moons. I ended up collecting all 999, and then finishing the 999. And I'm like, I still want to do more.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like in a sense where I want, like I had more to do. It just wasn't with Mario Odyssey. Like I collected all of the moons. I'm like, okay, let me collect all the costumes now. Okay, I collect all the costumes. I'm like, okay, let me do all the purple coins now. Like it was like this cycle of I just want to do more, to the point where I still want to do more. It's the only thing I want to fucking play right now. Like I want to ditch literally every other game I have and just go practice Mario Odyssey. It's like
Okay,
the
so
most
basi-
technical 3D platformer that's ever released.
based on-
absolutely. I would
based-
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to double
Yeah, we
down
have
on
to
4. So just
speed up.
quick, just like a quick thing.
Numbers?
I say Pyre 3, Yakuza 4, specifically because I think story-wise I love them pretty equally. But Pyre far and away has significantly better gameplay than Yakuza. I played 2 playthroughs of it. My second playthrough was on hard mode. I used all the difficulty stars, and I had just an amazing experience just playing the actual gameplay part of this story-driven narrative.
I have never been so emotionally caught up in a game, and I think that has a lot of weight.
Absolutely.
So I think
so
Yakuza 0 at least
I don't
deserves
know.
to be 3.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
we're not going to budge, but okay, we'll help you. Based on our arguments, what do you think sounds like a more
Between
compelling
Yakuza and
experience?
Pyre?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like it's really hard because you can't really talk like you laid out Pyre on paper and like it sounds like there's some really cool mechanics in it that I haven't gotten to yet. Yakuza, all of its good stuff is its story beats, and you can't just tell me those story
Yeah.
beats. I need to like experience them myself.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like it's a tough pick
Yeah.
for sure. I don't know.
And the other weird part is that they're games that both I think get better
With
sort
age.
of towards not with age.
With
Damn.
age, as in like hours.
Yeah, with hours.
Between those two, what do you think? We gotta decide
I
this.
have not played enough of Pyre to have an opinion on it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, based on the ideas.
Yeah.
We've,
Based on the ideas you've given, I definitely think Pyre is like the more interesting of the two. That said, from what I have seen of Yakuza and from what I know of Yakuza, I've like, even though I haven't like played the game, I've like watched a lot of story beats and stuff like that, and I've really enjoyed them. But I think Pyre is more deserving of 3 because basically for what you said, whereas like both of them have like fucking incredible story beats and stuff. One is incredible story beats and good gameplay, and one of them is incredible story beats and passable gameplay. So I would say Yakuza 4, Pyre 3.
Adam.
Yeah. That all checks out to me, but I don't feel comfortable saying that because I haven't.
Yeah, like I feel super uncomfortable saying it too because I have like an hour in Pyre.
Yeah. I have like
So-
I got like I was talking to you earlier. I had 2.5 hours in Pyre. And I saw a tweet saying, "This game gets fucking incredible after 3 hours." I'm like, I'm like, fuck, man.
So like I say that I don't think it holds as much weight as like you or Diana or even you. You've played more of both than I have.
Yeah, but like
So-
not
Yeah.
much. Like not like any notable amount. I like the humor in Yakuza a lot.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm grasping
really
at
stupid.
straws.
I think Yakuza shines in the writing department like all the fucking time.
Yeah.
like and it's really cool that they managed to keep all that humor through translation.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that's very. It's actually like actually funny.
Yeah, it's not like like
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Like-
there was
like
a few
it's-
times where
yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm actually laughing.
Yeah.
And this game's Japanese.
like
Good work.
the last game I actually laughed at was like probably like fucking jazz punk or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love the one where they fucking took Kiryu off the streets and was like, we need exactly you to be in this movie. I'm like, okay, that sounds fun.
There's one that comes along later. This isn't a spoiler, but it was, do you want to sign up to be a host at a banana bar? And he's like, okay.
I also
Okay.
love how there's also 2 Kiryus. There's story Kiryu, who is like just like super like straightforward, like hard, and then there's like the dumb fucking side quest Kiryu who smiles and
Who
is
smiles
like,
and is like, yeah, I'll help you practice your dominatrix line.
yeah. I love that there's just like he's just 2 people. Like he'll be having a good time with Nishikiyama, and he's just not smiling. And then meanwhile, a random person approaches him on the street, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll save your cat from the tree." But yeah, sorry,
Okay,
we're running out of
so
time.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Yakuza 4, Pyre 3 for just based on what's happening, unfortunately. But
Unfortunately.
like
It
my
looks like
my
Yeah.
weight here holds nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
saying that.
and
right
I
now,
wanna
I'm voting
say
in
that.
because I have to vote in.
Yes.
Like,
I would stand here and say I don't know.
yeah.
Like if you told me to say
Unfortunately,
I
that
don't
would
know.
mean.
If
I
we
mean,
were
unless,
able-
unless we want to do 2 threes, which I never surrender. 2 threes, which we're not gonna do. We have
No.
to pick one.
Greg, it's a
We
fucking
gotta pick
Colin,
one,
what
and
do
we
you-
got.
Colin, go for it.
I haven't played either.
Okay, but you are the referee, so like
Yeah.
Well,
You're the
like,
referee.
Yeah.
who convinced you more?
Oh God, we're doing this again. Let's move on to
Yeah.
2 and 1.
All right, let's do
How
2 and
I
1.
won last
Okay,
time.
yeah, let's do 2 and 1.
Yeah, I'm okay with
There
it
was
being
2.
4.
I mean, both
Alright.
2 incredibly.
Like, I'll
Well-
concede, this
well
is not
done.
the hill on which I die. I died on the most engaging soundtrack. Keyword engaging being Hellblade.
Okay.
So,
All right, yeah. Yakuza
that's
4.
that's
I'll be
my
okay
victory.
with- I mean, again, I haven't played either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They both sound
I
incredibly
mean, like,
interesting. And
I'll concede that Pyre is mechanically, gameplay wise, and like put together wise, the better game.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it more than Yakuza,
Yeah.
and I gotta put my personal opinions aside for this
Listen,
one.
I eliminated my game of the year choice
Yeah.
altogether. So
Yeah, but I host this entire shindig.
this is true.
So 1 and 2.
So yeah,
So
One and two.
well, 3 will do Pyre.
rough.
This
Yeah,
is really
three is
rough.
Pyre.
I like
it's rough, and we have 8 minutes.
like I think I like if if you were
It's
to
9:52.
I think
Okay, we can go like
Yeah.
a little over.
yeah no I can go a little over. I told my ride I'll be a few minutes late tonight.
Okay.
So we can
Yeah.
go a little. I
We
won't
probably have like 15.
Yeah, I probably
Okay,
won't be
cool.
able to help
20.
packing up, but like
That's
I can
okay.
stay until the
Yeah.
end.
From
I
what-
have to help packing up.
So from what I've heard,
Yeah.
for both these Nintendo games, has this ever happened before on the Livecast / VGA podcast, where 2 Nintendo games?
What
were-
podcast?
Exactly. Because it's not
No.
canon anymore.
There very rarely is there. Nintendo usually puts out like one really good game a year.
Yeah.
Very rarely two.
And not only two that are the best in their genre,
Yeah.
like period.
Yeah.
Like it's actually fucking insane.
yeah,
like-
Nintendo had one of the most insane years.
Like
Period.
I wouldn't like if I were to write reviews of both of these games, I wouldn't mind calling both of them perfect. And
So-
like that, and that's pretty insane.
Let's figure this out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between the four of you, and then I can be a swing vote if needed.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna need it.
I mean, there are only
Which one
things.
would you pick as number one? And that will be number one, and whatever loses will be number two.
I'd pick number 1, Odyssey,
Same.
just because of Adam's argument.
I would say number one
Like-
is also Mario Odyssey.
Of like the devs put this in for you to do, and you can do it no matter what. There's an objective, there's a mission, there's a thing you can do, and there's a way for you to do it. I don't have that with Zelda.
That,
as I've
that's kind
explained.
of the same with me. I think that, like, you know, like I said, the way I play open world games is I play them once and then I never touch them
Yeah,
again.
same here.
And like, this is definitely much more of a personal thing, but like, I think Mario is like a really, really good happy medium between as much exploration as you want and actual things you have to get done.
yeah.
The thing that I'm hung up on is how consistent that bad first playthrough. Not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's just good.
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah. Meanwhile, it's like I remember like my early memories of Breath of the Wild so well. You know, running around with a stick. You know, getting chased down by Bobakins.
Yeah.
You know, going to the bases and like blowing them up by shooting the little lantern. And like, I don't know. There's this. I have to sort of respect the ambition. That
Oh,
sort of
absolutely.
went into
Yeah.
Like
I think-
Breath of the Wild
No.
tries to do way more than Mario does.
Yeah,
But
no
it's
doubt
more of a
about
question
it.
of which one does what they're trying to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like,
and that's a
think-
really tough. That's a really tough.
Yeah.
question.
That's a really tough question.
Because I also think that like it's sort of weird to say. This is such a hard thing to argue, but like I feel like Mario has a easier time succeeding that goal. While
That's true.
It absolutely does.
It does.
So it's like I think like they're both 10s, but it's like the bar for Mario it would be like a 6, and like the bar for Zelda like they had
Yeah.
to hit would be like a 7 or something. If that
It's tough.
logic
I
makes
kind
any
of
sense.
understand what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild did more for its genre,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
by a lot.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it was better.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just because it helped other shitty people do their job better,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that like it was necessarily any better than Mario.
I definitely
it's really
think,
fucking.
I do
It's
think
weird.
you do have to like, because like lots of times game design is not lots of times, almost every single time it's just building upon what has been done before. So I do think there is value in understanding just how much better Breath of the Wild is than pretty much every other open world
Totally.
game. And Odyssey, while being like a really good platformer, is like, and probably one of the best when it comes to like depth or whatever. All I know is my first playthrough of Galaxy was just good the whole time, except that fucking mission with the bombs and the trash. But
I mean, I think we're like, I get what you're saying with the first playthrough thing.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of like underselling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think
my
we
first
are.
playthrough of Mario Odyssey, well, I do definitely think my opinion of the game improved after beating it. I also wouldn't say that the experience I had with it prior to that is like something I wouldn't mind not having.
yeah.
I definitely do think that going through and collecting those initial 124 moons and fighting the bosses and playing through the levels was an adventure. I felt like I was really exploring the world and like being in all of these new interesting places with so many like just nice
Before you
characters
keep going,
and environments.
3-minute warning.
Well, we're going over.
Yeah, we're going
Yeah, we're
over
going
a
over.
little
We are?
bit.
And
Okay.
yeah, and
Yeah, no, this
What was I
is
just about to say?
this is
And not to mention, Mario's first playthrough, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. So, like, Mario Odyssey, it doesn't have, like, specific standards as you would think a platformer would have. Because, so how Mario Odyssey works is you need 124 moons, however you get them, to fight Bowser.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Yeah.
you will have to get a certain amount to go on from each world, because what happens is how it works is, the Odyssey needs some more fuel to charge. It
Yeah.
needs moons to charge. So get this many moons.
20
And
on
most of the
regular.
time it's like 20-ish.
Yeah, most of the time it's 20-ish. So you need to get 124 moons, and that's how you get to beat Bowser.
Yeah.
That being said, there are 835 individual moons. 1/8 of the game is you finishing it.
Yeah.
So there are
Yeah.
700 different things 700 different moons you can collect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every given, any given playthrough.
And on top of that, all you need to do is collect those moons in any way you want.
Yes.
Like there have been people who have beaten Mario Odyssey and the only boss fight they played was Bowser.
You literally don't have to do the boss fights in every world.
So I'm actually going to wrap up this argument real quick with with what I call the coup de grace.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, I have not experienced it yet, but I heard that the final boss fight of Odyssey is fucking sick.
It's the best Mario
Don't-
boss
I'm not-
fight
I'm-
ever.
Don't tell me anything
need-
about it.
you-
I heard it's fucking
You
sick.
need to play this
Yeah.
boss fight.
Yeah, you need to.
Like
it
it's-
is
Yeah.
like that boss fight. Like I was playing through first time. I thought it was good. I thought it was like a solid 8 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
I beat the final boss, and my opinion immediately changed to a 9. Right there.
And,
That, like-
and the coup de grace for this is the Breath of the Wild final boss. Fucking trash.
Like it was like it's set up to do this. Like if they had just like that
Yeah.
whole Zelda part.
Yeah.
It's like if they had just
If-
like
if-
my
if the-
horse
if-
died.
if-
Hold
if
on, I
the-
said my horse died during the Zelda part, and I ran around on foot
Whoa,
shooting
I didn't know
Ganon with
that was
arrows.
possible.
My horse died.
That actually sounds kind of cool.
So
Or
Phil,
frustrating, I don't know.
Phil, my beloved Phil. I spent my whole playthrough with Phil.
That's crazy.
Phil died.
Phil died
Ganondorf
too.
stomped on Phil, and I'm like, "You asshole!"
That's crazy.
And
Holy shit.
and you know how big that area is.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to walk around the whole area on foot.
So how did? Do you think was
That made it worse. That made it worse.
Because it's pretty
Absolutely,
bad.
that absolutely made it worse.
Pretty bad.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, I honestly think Breath of the Wild would have been a perfect game if Ganondorf was in this game and
Totally.
not Ganon.
Not Calamity
Yeah.
Ganon.
not Ganon. I think that was a big thing. I think we needed that threat. We needed that constant threat. I think this game is a little bit too happy. As much as I love the happy parts, I feel like it would have been better if there were happy sections where it's like this is places unaffected by the calamity. But
Yeah.
there should have been a lot more calamity going on.
Yeah.
You call it Calamity Ganon? I want to see that destruction.
Yeah, even in the places that were heavily affected by this calamity, I noticed, and I have 15 hours in Zelda right now, and even the places that were heavily affected by this calamity, it's oh, it's a bright, sunny, happy meadow, but there's some ruins laying around.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The-
And then he really fucked it up.
There's a few.
I mean, it's also been 100 years since the calamity,
Yeah.
so it being nothing but grass
that
and trees
presence
still
has
makes
still
sense.
Been there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Global warming isn't gonna happen, and then 100 years later, it's gonna be okay.
yeah.
There are very specific points in Mario Odyssey that I want you specifically to see.
Yeah.
There are two that I have in mind that I think you would really enjoy.
Yeah.
Really enjoy, actually.
Yeah. But my coup de grace was set. I do believe this argument is over.
Yeah.
We got Breath of the Wild at number 2 and Odyssey.
Though
at
I
number
do want to talk about Breath of the Wild at least a little bit in this number 2 spot, because it seems like we were all just talking about Mario Odyssey, and then
Oh, we talked about Breath of the Wild.
we talked about Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild a
Yeah.
lot, but
yeah,
it's
but I was at 4 for some reason.
I think
We had all of our major arguments at 4.
we really did.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
But
someone wanted it to go
Yeah.
a different way.
Yeah.
You,
I
no
think
matter what.
the big thing with Breath of the Wild, and I think this is a really, really important thing to note, is
Yeah.
that with Mario Odyssey, it is definitely the next step up for Mario, but it's done in a way where Mario is you can do anything after that, you know? I think that Breath of the Wild is genuinely the next step Zelda has to take. It just did not, in my opinion, pull it off as well as it should have. That said, first time going in that direction.
Yeah.
I think
the next-
that
the
the
next-
next one is going to have this kind of open world style. They've already said
If,
that.
Oh, did they say that?
Yeah, they've already said all future Zelda games are going to be in that kind of
Fucking
world.
brilliant.
But but I think that it's not really as representative of itself as a game as much as it is the next step the franchise is going to be taking as a whole.
Yeah.
I definitely view this game more so as a stepping stone than anything else.
Yeah.
It's a really good stepping
It's
stone.
a really good stepping stone.
It's the
I
best,
have- Like a
it's
stepping
the second
boulder?
best stepping stone of 2017.
And that's why it's number 2.
I mean, what was the only other one? Like Fire Emblem?
I actually don't know. That's probably the biggest stepping stone of 2017, and maybe like ever. But like,
But like outside of that, I still think it is a very good game.
I really hope that the next Zelda game we get is the Majora's Mask version of Breath of the Wild.
It's the weird condensed
the weird like
Oh,
maybe
okay, I'd be on
smaller,
that.
the weird smaller, like kind of fucked up and dark. Because I feel like a Majora's Mask, maybe not in the exact same way, but the time mechanics sort of fix that open world problem. I do think Majora's.
I think it did that too.
So I think you could do something if the next Zelda game is a weird one.
Yeah.
I do think that is the best chance to make the perfect open world game.
Yeah,
the
that's
one
what
that has a
that's what I'm
story
thinking.
that fits the open world, and the one that has the gameplay that fits the open world.
Yeah. With Breath of the Wild, I do think that it does a lot of things really, really well. You know, I think just traversing the areas feels good. I think, you know, the shrine challenges, I think they are the best possible ways to ever do a Zelda puzzle.
Yeah.
I think outside of like the tests of strength, I thought those were like okay.
Oh yeah, fuck those.
Yeah.
yeah, like see, like when I think about Zelda, there are definitely things I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
Like, but like I didn't like how oversaturated it was with the fucking strength tests.
Yeah.
Like I've been going through doing like I spent all my weekend playing Zelda. Like I was supposed to study for a test, and I put 20 hours in Zelda instead.
Yeah.
And I was going back and doing like the old shrine stuff, and I'm like, like I got maybe half of the. I did maybe 30 shrines over the weekend, and maybe like 10 to 15 of them were all tests of strength,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
It's definitely overdone. I would have loved to see more like puzzles.
Yeah.
You know, because the puzzles they do have, I think, are fucking fantastic.
I think it's the way to do Zelda. Like these
Yeah.
small bite-sized puzzles.
small
based with the
bite-sized puzzles.
powers.
I think are really
like
good.
that's
'Cause,
totally.
like the bigger like dungeon-based puzzles all just kind of wore on me after.
But
a
yeah,
while.
but they
there were a
also-
couple that were really good.
Yeah.
But
They also still have their like small sections though.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is.
I'm not talking about like the bigger puzzles in Breath of the Wild. I'm talking like Zelda as a whole.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you meant like the ones in here.
No,
Like in the
like
beasts
those,
and stuff.
I wasn't able to get to any divine beasts.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know anything about. I know that
Okay.
like they are the dungeon.
Yeah,
But
they're
like
the
that's all I
dungeon.
know.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy the shrine puzzles. I think they are the best way to do Zelda
Yes.
puzzles. They were like, for one, they're not block puzzles most of the time, which
God.
Which is
which
great.
in and of itself is like great, and there's an improvement.
Godsend. Like-
Praise be. Praise be.
Oh, yes. Nice.
And like
I'm so bad at those. They seem so simple. Why can't I ever do that?
and like 90%
It's okay.
of those new puzzles are all fucking kick ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Like-
do kind of kick ass.
There could be a lot of refining about Zelda.
Yeah.
Like like you said earlier, there's so much room to improve
Yeah.
upon
That-
Zelda and
that's
the
why
open
Zelda
world.
that's why Breath of the Wild excites me, because
Yeah.
it's like it literally feels like the next step for open
Yeah.
Yeah.
world, and every other open world has
Yeah.
to watch.
That's
this.
what
Th-
I
yeah,
I
they-
think,
they
I
have
think
to-
their biggest thing that they have to do specifically for Zelda is they have to take general combat, like for like basic enemies and
Yes.
such, like because like it works in a way for the bosses, but like for fighting most basic like enemies you find in the field, which is most of the game, it's like all these cool defensive mechanics they incorporated into the game just don't matter.
Yeah.
Because you run in and you can't target anything because everything is too fast and there's like 8 of them at a time. So instead of doing this cool like dodge rolling and parrying and blocking, you just kind of run in and swing your sword like a dumbass.
And the every weapon swing animation leaves you completely stationary.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of standing there hoping they kind of walk into your attack.
Yeah.
If you just cleaned up the combat a little bit.
If they were to make the combat play like
Dark Souls.
literally any other Zelda game.
Greg, please.
like we're laughing. This is the most Dark Souls Zelda has ever been, and
Yeah.
it's like the best one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like it's crazy.
No, I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I have not played Dark Souls like all the way through.
Yeah.
And like
You're even wearing a Dark Souls shirt.
and like
There's no Dark Souls game this year.
there's no Dark Souls game this year.
Nio actually
Nio.
came
Yeah.
out this year.
I know,
It's not a Dark Souls game.
there's no official Dark Souls, and we're still talking about how if it
Yeah.
was more like Dark Souls, it would be the #1 game.
Yeah. Dark Souls is an important game. So important
Very
that
important
it's a
game.
meme.
Yeah, right?
It is. I think Breath of the Wild is the new Dark Souls. It's the Dark Souls
Open world.
of changing game conversation.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
Dark Souls
Yeah, I know.
of things that come out and are revolutionary.
Sure.
Like-
Put that on a t-shirt.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Breath of the Wild is the new gold standard for every open world game that comes out.
Yeah,
I would
Every
agree with that. by
single
far.
one.
I'll agree with that.
I think that
It just
especially if
needs
they
more objectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
honestly,
love
I
more things
loved.
to
This is a little bit off, but the same team who developed the majority of Breath of the Wild, Monolith Soft.
Zeno.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the way they handled Xenoblade Chronicles X's open world was pretty amazing, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, no one
Because
played that
each
one.
little node of the world gave you specific goals for that specific part of the map. Like
okay.
you
Oh, that's
could,
cool.
like if you wanted to, you could set up like a mine thing and harvest energy to build better items, or you could like mark off areas where like good enemies to like hunt and level up were.
Yeah.
And like each specific just like node on the map, of which there were dozens and dozens, just gave you cool things to do.
Yeah.
There were different radio signals that you could like turn on and like do shit with. I don't remember specifically what, because I haven't played that game in like 2 years.
That was the Wii U exclusive one, right?
Yeah, that was the Wii U one. But the way it treated an open world was like, not only did you have missions to find in the world, but the world itself was a mission. And the things you did in each specific area were like just super, like you could go somewhere, not talk to anyone, and still have a shit ton to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's the ideal for like daily life.
So I think if they incorporated that system into the next Zelda game, it would be fucking fantastic. They're already fine with doing the little technology thing with the Sheikah Slate, where it's basically a cell phone. So incorporating that kind of map also wouldn't be too big a deal flavor-wise.
Yeah. That being said, I do think I would appreciate the return of a traditional dungeon, and just
Yeah.
I just want my dumb random elemental
Yeah.
variants where it's just like, oh look, this dungeon's a new biome.
I like the idea of
I did-
building. I like it's like you're working up to this milestone, like no matter what you do in between, it's like, now I'm ready.
Yeah, this is slowly turning into a Breath of the Wild discussion. Last thing,
Yeah.
kind of wish there was like just a little, just like one plot twist with some of the shrines or something.
Yeah.
One of them's broken.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to like bullshit your way through it because the original puzzle's broken or something.
Yeah.
Or like you find like maybe some animals have made refuge inside or something. Just like one plot twist maybe towards the end.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
Something.
Breath of the Wild, like I said, it's the gold standard of fucking.
Have you
Open world
guys
games.
done it in depth on it yet?
No, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
cool.
we could.
Yeah, we could talk about the story and why Ganondorf would have been perfect for this fucking
Yeah,
game.
like we can't seem to shut up about Breath of the Wild. So let me give you back Breath of the Wild at some point. I finished the DLC this weekend. Sure. Finish it up and let's have an in-depth on Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Let's go
our
through the
top,
10.
Yeah, our top
our
10.
top 10 and nope and actual
In
actual order.
actual order.
Yeah, in order this
Bottom
time.
top.
Bottom to up.
Bottom top.
10 to 1. Persona 5. Divinity Original Sin 2. What Remains of Edith Finch. A Hat in Time. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. I'm pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cuphead.
I mean, not that I'm the authority on how to pronounce Norse things, but
Cuphead. Yakuza 0. Pyre. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And our number 1.
Odyssey.
Lifecast.
Odyssey.
Game of the Year.
Odyssey.
Odyssey, Odyssey,
I'm not.
Odyssey, Odyssey.
If you can't tell, it's Street Fighter 5. No, Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, no. I'm
What?
leaving.
That was wow. That was this year. Okay,
Wow.
whatever.
Okay.
What the fuck?
That was this year.
Was it? Or
No,
was
it
that
was
last year?
last year.
Oh, wait, fuck.
I remember
And
specifically
it's
not
Dark Souls
nominating
for the
it.
third year in a
Oh,
row.
yeah.
It's-
Man.
No, wait a minute.
Weird.
Wait a minute.
Time was really fucking weird.
Wait a minute. Streets of Rage 2?
Streets of Rage 2.
At
Yeah,
number
we
0, Streets of Rage 2.
We
Streets of Rage
finally
2.
did it.
We did.
Yeah.
And the audio came out perfectly.
Hopefully.
Nothing
As far as we know.
It
was
came out
bad.
perfectly.
Because we had great discussions.
And that's
Yeah,
all that
that's true.
matters. And you know what?
Yeah.
Now, before we end it,
Yeah. What's up?
let's just all like list off our top 3.
Oh, okay.
Just because we can.
I don't
Personal
know.
top 3?
Oh,
Fuck,
boy.
you're
Yeah,
wait.
personal top
personal
three.
top
You're
three.
putting me on the spot here.
My personal top 3 was number 3 was Horizon Zero Dawn. Number 2 was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and number 1 was Yakuza 0.
My top 3 is from 3 Hollow Knight, 2 Breath of the Wild, and 1 Pyre.
Mine would be 3 Cuphead, 2 Breath of the Wild, and 1 Mario Odyssey.
Mine would be 3 Persona 5, 2 Mario Odyssey, and 1 A Hat in Time.
I just have one, and that's
My top 3.
Wow.
Oh my god.
my number 1 game of the year is John Wick 2 on Blu-ray. You don't know how long I've been waiting to see that.
So long for that.
My actual top 3, although John Wick 2 is probably one of my top movies of the year.
I agree.
Hell yeah, great movie.
A pencil.
The box of cheeses I had this morning.
Ooh,
Good game.
best game.
That's depression snack.
Every box is.
It could also be Fritos. Might be a tie.
That's like a bad depression snack.
Yeah, Fritos are like ultra depression.
Delicious stuff. No, actual top 3.
Yeah.
Number 3, Dragon Quest Heroes 2, most fun I've had with the game this year. Number 2, Cuphead. Number 1, Battle Chasers Night War.
All right, we
There
did
we
it,
go.
We did it.
and we didn't beat each other up.
Yeah.
We did it actually pretty civilly.
Yes.
I'm happy.
I'd also like to point out that this is now the 2nd copy of Mario Odyssey we'll be giving away.
Fuck!
And what a great place to end it! What a great place to end it, folks.
No! I didn't even think about it. I forgot!
We'll see you next week.
See you next week, ladies and gentlemen.
No, next week is Christmas.
You know this.
So we want to wish. Hold on.
That's why you
Before we
bought
rage
us.
about giving away Mario Odyssey again, we want to wish all of our Lifecast listeners and fans. If you like the Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. Check out our Instagram. Check us out on Discord.
Yeah.
Watch the YouTube page for some reason. because YouTube is still a thing.
We have a link tree which lists everything. We have a Discord server. Join us. We'll be there.
I just, on behalf of everyone in the Lifecast, and I'm sure everyone here, including our good Oklahomies, Chris and Kennedy, we want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And happy holidays.
And happy
In case
holidays.
you don't celebrate Christmas.
Happy
happy
whatever
holidays.
the fuck you celebrate.
Have
Sorry.
a
It's
great
okay, it's
fucking
okay.
time.
You meant
Yeah.
well.
I did.
Have a great fucking time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We will be back doing regular podcasts in the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, really? We're not.
We're not doing a podcast next week because
But what about
it's-
the week
Christmas
after?
Day
Wait,
is
the
literally a Monday.
Oh god, the week after.
The week after is New Year's Day, I think.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll
all right.
see you in
Yeah.
2018,
Bye.
fuckers.
See you in 2018. Happy holidays, everyone.